In Module 5, Lesson 9, we're going to be determining the area and perimeter of polygons on the coordinate plane. So beginning in the classwork, example 1, we have a scale drawing of a vegetable garden that is on the coordinate plane, and we'll need to determine the perimeter and the area to know how much fencing and dirt to purchase. The fencing, since it goes around the outside of the figure, would be our perimeter, and the dirt, since it fills in the inside, would be the area of the figure. We want to recognize that the figure itself is a composite figure. It's made up of a couple of rectangles, and so we need to cut the rectangles apart in order to find the area of the full shape. But let's go with perimeter first. Perimeter will be the distance around the outside. So for our perimeter, we would simply add the lengths of each of the outside line segments So for our fencing, we have line segment AB, which is 4 units, and then line segment BC, which is 7, and then line segment CD, which is also 4, line segment DE, which is 6, line segment EF, which is 8, and line segment FA, which is 13. And we add all of those together, we get 42 units. So our fencing then will be 42 units. The dirt, on the other hand, we'll need to cut this figure into rectangles in order to find the area of each section. So I cut our shape into 2 rectangles. The top one, which includes vertices A, B, and C, and then the bottom one, which includes vertices D, E, and F. So the area of our top rectangle, and remember area is base times height, we have a base of 4, counting across, and our height 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 4 times 7, or 28 square units, will be the top. Our bottom rectangle has a base of 8 and a height of 6. So our bottom rectangle's area will be 8 times 6, or 48 square units. And so the total area of the garden will be 76 square units. In example 2, we have a polygon that is much more predictable. It has 6 sides, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is a hexagon, which we pretty readily recognize as a hexagon. But there is not a formula to find the area of the hexagon, not one that we know. So what we'll need to do then to find the area of this polygon is we'll need to cut it into shapes that we can find the area of. If you know the trapezoid formula, that would work nicely, but most of us don't have that one memorized. So what we could do is turn this into some triangles, or some triangles and a rectangle. When I look at it, I see very clearly that this could be a triangle on one side, this could be a triangle on the other side, and we could have a rectangle in between. So I've gone ahead and cut our hexagon into those 3 parts. And all we need to do now is to find the area of each of the triangles and of the rectangle in the middle. The formula for area of a triangle was base times height divided by 2. And our base and height have to be perpendicular to each other. So clearly these two diagonal type sides are not going to work as the base. The only base we have would be this side. And I want to be clear about this. Your base does not have to be the part that looks like it's laying down flat on the ground. The base is any side that has a height that is perpendicular to it. So here's our base, and here is our height, drawn perpendicular to the base. That gives us measurements then of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have to count from corner to corner. So we're starting at A. We go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our base is 6 and our height 1, 2. 6 times 2. And by the way, over here I see the same thing. So we have two triangles that are 6 by 2. And we have two of those triangles. 6 by 2. And I multiplied by 1/2, which is the same as dividing by 2. So we have two of those, and then we have the rectangle, and our rectangle is 4 by 6. So our rectangle, 4 times 6, which is 24 square units. And then finally we add all three of them together to find the total area of the hexagon. Which gives us a total of 36 square units for our hexagon. So in our exercises, we are looking at the same types of situations. First of all, we have an octagon that we'll have to cut apart, and then some other shapes. We'll go one at a time, but we'll go relatively quickly. When I look at this octagon, my first thought is I could cut it into pieces, but I might end up with more pieces that way than if I were to find the bigger shape that's around it and then cut out these little triangles on the corner. Let me show you what I mean. So I've taken yellow and I've drawn the enclosure. This shape, which looks very much like it probably is a square, might be easier if we find the area of the square and then we find the area of each of these little triangles. Then we could subtract the area of each of these little triangles from the area of the square. And that might be a little bit quicker and easier than trying to cut this octagon into triangles or rectangles. So let's look at the length, the base and the height of this shape and make sure that it's a square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, I believe it is not. It is not. It's very close to being a square, but it is 10 by 9. So we'll find the area of that rectangle first. And then, looking at the triangles, these are right triangles because they are the corners of our rectangle. So that means that the two sides forming the right angle are the base and the height of these triangles. So when I look at the base, I have 1, 2, 3. Again, just travel across on the grid. 1, 2, 3 is our base, and our height is 1, 2, 3 as well. So the formula will be 1/2 times 3 times 3. Which gives us 4.5 square units. And just to double check, you want to look at the dimensions of all of the other triangles. I see 3 by 3 here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So they are indeed all 3 by 3. So that means that we'll take our 4.5 square units and we'll have to multiply that by 4, which will give us a total of 18 square units for those triangles that are the corners of our rectangle. And then finally, what we want to do is take the 90 for the larger rectangle and subtract 18, those 4 triangular corners, to find the total area of our octagon, which gives us a total of 72 square units for our octagon. Our next shape is a pentagon, 5 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for this shape, I see a triangle right here that we can easily cut. And then we might have to cut a couple of triangles out from the rest of it. So let's get started with the one triangle and then see what we have. Okay, so I cut out the large triangle on the left. This is our base, and this will be our height. And then I found a right triangle here and a right triangle down here, leaving us with this small rectangle in the middle. So our formula is again triangle 1/2 times base times height. And in the case of our right triangles, the 2 legs, the 2 sides that make the right angle are the base and the height. So our first triangle, that's our large triangle over here, was 1/2 times 8, that's our base, times 3, that was our height, equals 12 square units. And then we had this triangle, which was 1/2 times 5, that's our base here, times 3, that's our height, is 7.5 square units. And this triangle below was exactly the same dimensions, so another 7.5 square units. And finally, our rectangle in the middle was 5 by 2, which was 10 square units. We add all of those up, and we get 37 square units for the full pentagon. In exercise 2, we're asked to determine the area and perimeter of the following shapes. So we're starting off with a rather simple composite figure that is clearly made up of 2 rectangles. Let's find the perimeter first by counting each of the sides. This side is 10. And 6. So our perimeter is 40 units. 10 plus 6 plus 6 plus 4 plus 4 plus 10. And then our area we're going to find by cutting this little rectangle out of the bottom. And our bottom rectangle turns out to be a square, which is 4 by 4 for 16 square units. And our upper rectangle is 10 by 6, which is 60 square units. And we add the 2 together to get a total of 76 square units. So our perimeter is 40, and our area is 76 square units. And finally, we have a shape that is also pretty easily cut into 2 rectangles. So we'll find the perimeter first. And so our perimeter, 15 plus 6 plus 4 plus 10 plus 4 plus 10 plus 7 plus 6 is 62 units. And our area, after I cut these two rectangles, I had 4 by 10 for our bottom rectangle, which is 40 square units. And our top rectangle was 15 by 6, which is 90 square units. And 40 plus 90 square units is 130 square units.